Welcome back to Breakfast Central, where we're broadcasting live from the Nigeria Economic Summit, the 31st edition, happening live at the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. Now, this morning, we're moving the conversation into the legal perspective. We've spoken about politics, where we looked at what's happening in Rivers State and the meeting between Nyesom Wike and Siminalayi Fubara and what that means for the people of Rivers State. This time, we're looking at a statement by the Nigerian Bar Association's President, that's Mazi Afam Osigwe, SAN, who had spoken to some of the changes that needs to be adopted in Nigeria's legal space. He's talked about criticizing the judicial delays and talked about digitization of court processes, highlighting the ways in which we can further strengthen our democracy. All of this was said at the 2025-2026 legal year ceremony. This morning we're joined by a lawyer, Barrister Monday Adjeh, as we x-ray the conversations that have been had and what the next steps are. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to have you. I'm just going to run through a few things that were highlighted. It's quite a long speech. I think it was about 28 minutes, so we can't go into this. So judicial delays and how this in some measure fuel public distrust. There was also bias in judicial appointments, which have been a long-time conversation. He also spoke to the need for full digitization, that's electronic filing, virtual hearings, and real-time case tracking. He also talked about bail processes being used for political oppression and unjust detention. He talked about child justice. Of course, minors should not be tried and detained alongside adults. However, MBA was criticized recently over front row seats reservations for celebrity lawyers. There's so many other things that were spoken about, and I'm sure that you were there, you heard the speech. How does the speech come across to you, and how did it come across to you, the points that he raised, and do you think that maybe there are certain areas that you think he should have spoken to that he didn't speak to? Like, I did see some people who criticized the fact that he didn't speak about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So let's get your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Naturally, when the president of Nigerian Bar Association has made a certain position that represents the interests of the entire bar, and you are not entitled to give a divergent view about that position. But notwithstanding, we also have the right to comment on the veracity or the wise of that statement. He has said it all. So I'm in the position now just to lend my support to what he has stated. Of course, whether you like it or not, the judiciary is a product of the society we find ourselves. Whether we like it or not, in every system, including this station, there are good eggs and bad eggs. It's natural. And that's why there are rules and regulations that guide our conduct. Otherwise, there will no need for rules and regulation. Having made that position clear, the reason why all of us are talking about judiciary today is because of the nature and the sacrosanct of the office they occupy, being the last hope for common man. And just like Caesar's wife, you must live above board. All what Mr. President of NBA have stated, they are the facts that is telling on our face in the judiciary, whether we like it or not. This is time for us to speak up so that at the end of the day, we know what to address and not to address. But if I may go into some of the key points you raised on the issue of appointments, I'm a bit surprised that even the Chief Judge or the CGN of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have been commenting on these same issues. Now, that you blow the pipe and dictate the tune. The mode of appointing our judges today is not the best standard for the system we find ourselves in. It's more or less like, with apology, Benin monarchical system where the son of the late king will take over from the father. When you look at the system, you discover that everybody just want to plant their kids, their children in this system as they are living. We are not saying they are not qualified. That's not the issue. But are they really interested? Are they the best for this job? Are they the one that can give us what the society deserves? The answer is no. Because when you force a person to take up an appointment that is not from his own mind, you cannot force him to do what is expected of him in respect of that office. So when you put somebody there, they don't know what to do with apology, the system will be messed up. And that's one of the cardinal challenges that is facing us on our face in the judiciary. That one is appointments.
Brilliant speech from the MBA president. He did highlight the litany of issues facing the Nigerian judiciary. But critics will say year after year, you have these grand MBA conferences, you sit down, you talk, you know the problems. But how much progress have you made or are you making? And that brings me to the question of restoring confidence of the common man in the Nigerian judiciary. You often hear the phrase go to court, or the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. But many people don't feel that way anymore. So what do we need to do as a people, or the MBA and the stakeholders, when it comes to restoring trust in the judiciary and making it really the last hope of a common man?
Quickly, I also have the same challenge as you are raising it. And the last conference we have in Enugu, I also engaged some of my colleagues and the seniors alike, that it has now become a natural event that will gather in a state and will make a lot of heavy noise. At the end of the day, we come back the same next year, the same topic, the same issue are being canvassed. And nobody has ever assessed what have we achieved in the last conference, our communique that we reach, what was the level of implementation, so as to guide us on the next line of action. These things are missing in MBA. And of course, you know, Nigerian factor, we talk too much. Everybody, you see everybody making us, when it comes to action, nobody, and that's why some of these African countries are better than us. Their wars are mad with action. But our own, and the politicians have discovered that this is our weak point. We can make noise and talk and speak the best English in the whole world. At the end of the day, the thing will die down naturally. That's a problem on the part of MBA. We must add little reasonable force, enforcement to whatever we are taking. And we must have a kind of instrument on that will assess the level of achievement of what we have agreed or those challenges that we identify, whether social or social person has complied or not. That will also guide us and make the system a better. But this thing is missing in MBA, apart from the talk show and what have you that we keep on doing as a ritual. And that's not the best. That cannot help the system.
All right. We had a list of SANs recently that were welcomed, and celebrated. We did see the induction ceremony, and of course it was a very large celebration. But part of what he had spoken about was broadening eligibility for the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. How important do you think that is?
In every profession, there is hierarchy. If you get to the military, they have their hierarchy. I'm sure you two also have your peak of career here.
Senior uncle.
That's good. And whether you like it or not, in legal profession, that's the highest level you can attain. But from all indication and what we can see, at least to the best of my knowledge, I discovered that this particular body has not been given their rightful place in the legal profession. And I will not even blame those who are in charge. The way you address determines how you be addressed. If you are firm and then as a body and people knows your position, then whether you like it or not, nobody will take your rightful place from you. But when you are so relaxed and you allow things to go naturally, of course, people will bypass you and do a lot of things. And I think that's what is happening to the body of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. This is time for them to take their rightful place and be assertive and be firm in whatever they are doing, because they owe this profession a duty. They are the ones that set the pace for the juniors want to follow, and they must not fail us in this responsibility. And they must always stand by what is just and noble for the interest of the society. Until that one is done, the body that's supposed to recognize them will always look the other way around.
Sorry, I want to still push back on that a little. I think the perspective would be also that many people believe that right now it feels like it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for one to qualify to become a Senior Advocate of Nigeria. They talk about how behind the scenes it's incredibly difficult in terms of, yes, we know that there are a certain number of cases you ought to have done, some pro bono cases, and depending on the, some years of experience as required. So I think maybe the question might be, do you think that we need to reduce how difficult it is to become a Senior Advocate of Nigeria? There's also behind the scenes talks of it being in some measure politicized, right? So do you think that there are ways we need to maybe revisit the criteria for those who are eligible to become Senior Advocates?
anything behind the scene is not to the public or the knowledge of the public, so we don't have to go to what happened behind the scene. They are more like a hearsay. But let me quickly add, to me, there's need for us to really amend the qualification guidelines, because in other climes, you don't pay as much as you pay in Nigeria here. And it's strictly on merit. People will look at your contribution toward the legal profession. Then you'll be invited. Then they will stray your work and then pick you there. But in Nigeria, in fact, most of the people who even spend much of their time in adding value to the profession, because of the financial commitment, they don't even want to go there. And that's another challenge. To me, I think we should be of more merit. Look at what this man has contributed, right from lower court to the highest court of the land. Then from there you can invite him, apart from the one that you also obtain through whatever. So it should be an additional one.
Financial commitment part of it.
You said?
The financial commitment part. What is required?
As we speak now, of course, there's certain money you have to pay, and the money, the reason why you pay for this and that is about the society to be got. They themselves complain that this money will be used to facilitate some of what we are doing. So,
yes. But before because we're pressed for time and we understand you have a court appearance to attend this morning. Talking about public interest, let's talk about an issue that is currently making the rounds in the media, the impunity and wanton disregard for court orders. And I'm using the tin permit case as an example. I believe a federal high court in Delta State did issue an order saying that everybody should return to status quo. But the Nigerian police, you have senior lawyers there, that's meant to enforce the law, seems to disregard it, and they've gone ahead to impound vehicles. I mean, the fact that they're not even issuing tickets, the fact that they're impounding those vehicles is a conversation for another day. Why do we have this sort of things? The courts issue orders that is meant to be sacrosanct, and people decide which orders they will obey or not, and then you find an institution of law, the Nigerian police, disregarding the law. Is there any interpretation? Because you lawyers have a way of saying it's not yes or no now. It's not black and white. It's how do you interpret it? What color do you interpret this tab to? Black or white? Yes. So what's your take on that?
Well, a society that failed to value the positive order of a court is heading to a gym, and that's what is happening to us. If you like, travel to UK, any part of the world, and be win investors, they will not come because we don't take our judiciary with us sense of seriousness. Because if I come here to invest and there's no hope for me at the judiciary, or people don't respect the order of the society, the judiciary, nobody will come. Now, coming back to the issue proper, the order of the court is clear and positive. If a court made an order, parties should maintain status quo. The question you ask, what does this Nigerian police force stand to lose for this duration? That to wait, hold on until we determine this motion on notice. You see, the problem is not even with the Nigerian police. I also blame the judiciary, because most of the time they back and they cannot bite. If an order of a court has been violated, the party involved knows what to do. You go and apply for contempt of court. The Attorney General of Edo State some years ago was detained for the same offense, and I know before he leave the office, he never played with the order of the court. This is an Attorney General of a state who knows the law. Now, if our court can show some of these characters where they belong to society, everybody will stand tall and they do the right thing. There is no need for us to waste time on this issue. It's clear. Maintain status quo. Of course, the issue of what they are trying to implement is not a perishable thing that this tomato before tomorrow everything will go rotten. These are things that anytime the court rule in your favor, you resume. Why are they in a hurry? Are they not serving the interest of the nation? And the judiciary is there to tell them what to do. And this idea of we are not being served properly, these are laymen or whatever. We're in a modern world. We're in a modern where technologies thrive everywhere. Tell me if the IG or whoever and others who are in charge, they are not aware about the development. So you see, when some of these characters want to dodge their duty performing what they expect of them, you will see them coming with some of these funny excuses here and there.
Indications for that.
Of course. If there is evidence, anyway, to me, I will not even blame, because by law, they have to be served personally with the other. But a responsible institution who is aware of that development should hold on and exercise some level of restraint, so that the outcome of the court will not be an exercise of futility at the end of the day.
Okay, I mean, there are other angles to look at, but we might be running out of time. But let's talk about the role that the judiciary has to play in ensuring, because I heard you say that you also blame the judiciary for them being, for this law, for backing and not fighting. What systems need to be put in place to ensure that we restore the sanctity of the judiciary? Because as it is, it currently isn't there. The judiciary can give a law, can give an order, a court judgment, and the executive or another arm will decide to do whatever they want to do. What measures do we need to put in place to restore that sanctity back to where it should be?
The first thing we need to address is the independence of the judiciary. No matter how good you are here, you can now outshine, let me use that common language, your proprietor here, who is the owner of this whatever. If you say, look, this is the direction I want you to go, whether you like it or not, the option left for you is to resign and find your way. That is what is happening, because there is fear everywhere. If I go this way, I don't know what so person will do to me. In fact, when you engage some of these judicial officers, they will tell you that if they go this way, there is this fear, and all of us have a bad past. There is this fear that what I did in primary school, somebody may come and write petition, and before you know it, it's just like about a bird that want to fly. You now throw a stone. So everybody, there is this fear because of this independence. Tell me what government has to do by giving cars to judges. What is their business? Are we now saying the judicial arm cannot take care of their own affair? Governor will not be giving a motorcycle, bicycle, what have you, to magistrate and judges. What for? It's just like what I'm telling you, that you dictate the pipe, dictate the tune. So you can now see that the level of independence is not there, like what happened in another same clan. And that is where there is this fear.
Independence in like a minute, because we've been talking about the independence of judiciary right from when I was in university, before I went to law school, and that's been over a decade. And yet we haven't yet seen that independence play out.
Now the whole work of war lies in the judiciary themselves. Anytime they have this opportunity to assert and affirm their independence, you see them missing the opportunity. They own every power within them to do whatever they want to do. But anytime they have this opportunity to declare their independence, you'll be surprised that what you hear is a different thing. So these are the challenges we're having. It lies on them. If they want to be independent, it's in their hand. If they don't want to be independent, it's left for them.
All right, Monday Adjeh, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been quite an interesting conversation with Mr. Monday Adjeh, who is lawyer, legal practitioner. We've explored some of the loopholes in Nigeria's current legal space, as well as how we can plug these loopholes. We'll continue to advocate for the independence of the judiciary, and a judiciary that is respected by all and sundry.